Hi, welcome to Leap Taken. This is Mika, and here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And today, I would like to talk about Black is King. This is a review Friday for me, and I made sure to watch it very early this morning and take notes in my notebook here. And it's a fabulous notebook. Anyway, I have a couple pages of notes here that I'm going to be going through on this movie or visual album movie. I'm not even sure really how to call it. We're going to call it a movie. Okay, but that's what I'm calling it. So what does any of this have to do with this channel? It has everything to do with this channel because it is, first of all, I'm going to, spoiler alert, it was good. And if you have not seen it yet, and I realize it's early, so, it just came out at midnight on Disney Plus. If you haven't seen it, wait, come back to it. Or if you're like me and you're just kind of, a curious person, you can watch this and, hear what I'm saying, but, come to your own conclusion, your own decisions, and how you felt, what resonated with you in the movie. Basically, Black is King is a film directed and produced by Beyonce. I watched to the end of the credits, so she wrote most of the songs that are on there, or at least co-wrote most of the songs that are on the album. I said the album, the movie. Anyway, I'm gonna start with letting you know I was hoping, I wasn't really sure what this piece would be. I was a little confused when I was reading about it. I was hoping it wasn't going to be a musical. I'm not somebody who likes musicals. Sorry. In the middle of dialogue and it's flowing and I'm, engrossed in the story. If you break out in song, you lost me. That's just me. I want to be into them. I want to be one of those people who likes musicals, but I do not. It drains me to get through. I'm looking to fast forward. So anyway, I was grateful to realize it's not. So if you wasn't sure exactly what it was, it's more akin to Lemonade, where it's telling a story's being told. There is music. There is some, narration, but that's about it. There's no actual dialogue between characters or anything. So if you didn't know, and I wasn't sure, now you know. Okay, the first thing that resonated with me, there are so many sounds of so many electronic devices in my background. The first thing that resonated with me was the imagery. It opens up. I'm going to watch it again, and I'll probably come back and talk more about it because I might have a different reaction. But this is my first look reaction. The imagery, water flowing. It opens to water flowing, a river. And it's beautiful, and you sense, just looking at it, you believe you are in Africa, when you're looking at the river. That's what comes to mind. And then there's a basket floating down the river. Now, when I first watched that, I'm like, oh, is this, touching on, the biblical story with, with the basket and the river and all that, certain Moses and all that. But anyway, that's what came to my head. So I'm telling you what I'm thinking. Initially, I was like, interesting. And then, of course, because Black is King is basically like another type of representation of the movie The Lion King, the story The Lion King. Mufasa's voice came on, just if you didn't know that. Mufasa's voice from the movie came on, opening, talking about how we're all connected. If you've ever seen The Lion King, hopefully you have. That's something Mufasa tells Simba, that we're all connected in the circle of life. And it breaks into the song after that. I'm not sure what the name of the song, I just jotted it down. You're part of Way Something Bigger. That's probably not the name of it, or I think it is Bigger or something like that. Anyway, I felt so emotional. This is in the first few minutes. I was already getting teary-eyed at that part, like the visuals and just the feeling that it emitted, all that color on the screen, not just the people, the colors, the scenery, the clothes, the hair, the jewelry, everything. It just gave me a sense of immediate pride. Never underestimate the feelings you get from media, it feeds your spirit. Art is good for the soul, is good for the spirit, right? And this is art. And I'm consuming it, by watching it. And it is, as with anything that you consume, whatever the effects of that consumption, whatever the process of breaking it down, the process of absorbing it into you, that's a spiritual piece. That's spiritual to me. That's why you can't take it for granted when you're watching TV, dramas. If you're somebody who loves the Tyler Perry stuff, sorry, not sorry. If you're someone who loves the Tyler Perry stuff, or you just like watching dramas, your Grey's Anatomy, Scandal when it was on, How to Get Away with Murder. I used to watch this, basically the Shonda Rhimes set, all the different various Tyler Perry movies, and the crime shows, and Snapped, and all that sort of stuff, and the reality TV shows. It's not a judgment, but you have to know that consuming this type of art, this type of media, will have an effect. It's going to modify how you feel, how you think, and how you process when you're long away from the TV and you're, the screen. It's still going to affect you, and it will have a consequence of consuming that. In the same way of consuming nothing. There are some people I know who really don't watch TV at all. They do consume media, but it's basically on their phones and maybe on their laptops. And that's going to be in videos, shorts, a lot of video shorts. They don't really watch, movies and things like that very often. I know for a fact there's a whole generation of people who are like that. They don't really watch TV. So, trust me, they also will be having a consequence. Consequence is not necessarily negative, but it's a consequence, cause and effect. Anyway, I was emotional. It just made me feel very full of pride. And sometimes it's nice to see on a bigger scale the very things that you believe, the things that you talk about within your own family and within your friends, and it's being echoed back, and that feels good. So I think that also played a part. Anyway, it progresses over into another phase I'm sorry, before I leave that, I love how it opens up, and the whole thing is basically Beyonce, with a baby, and it's just showing you that, and there's more to come in it. I'm not gonna give the whole freaking thing away, but just watch it. But she looks absolutely stunning, and she comes across as very saintly, goddess-like when she looks like that, very motherly. Anyway, but the story again is loosely on the Lion King, so it's following a young man's journey. So the baby is the son, the young man, who will be the young man. And it goes on, it progresses on, and eventually, he's a young man. That baby is a young man, and he's going through his journey. So he's being led into kind of like a old garage industrial area. It's the little boy, and he's getting exposed by somebody who I guess is a negative influence. I don't know what you would call this person. I guess he would be the Scar character, right? The uncle, and he's basically exposing the young man Simba to the worldly things in life. And forgive me, my daughter's coming in, so you're gonna hear her putting in the code. That's okay. Anyway, so yeah, so that happens, and you see the next phase, the next progression is the young man is now basically Jay-Z. They keep filming it so you understand it's Jay-Z, and into this world of luxury and money and all this other stuff, and they play that song Mood Forever during this time frame. And I really do appreciate it. It's like, the material wealth, all the material stuff. That's what I saw. It's this kid's journey. And it's very interesting because it kind of goes into, just the perils of life, gambling, all that sort of stuff, getting a taste of danger. It's a lot of back and forth of you seeing that sort of stuff. I appreciate, though, that the mother is present not as much. The mother being Beyonce, right? She's not as present as much, which is how it's going to work for a young man. She's always there, but she's not there. Then there's a death scene where it's Beyonce. It looks, it's very, to me, that part, it's like they're giving a nod to Simba's father in The Lion King being killed, and they're showing you imagery to make you believe that maybe his father, the young man in this Black is King, is being killed. And then it cuts to Beyonce, like she's the one, looks like she's dead in a funeral procession. So, they're just playing on imagery. I'm going to watch it again. So anyway, it don't matter. But if you catch it and you watch it, somebody tell me in the comments how to figure that part out. But anyway, and they go into, just like in The Lion King, the Hakuna Matata part, where basically, we're not worrying about nothing. Yeah, that's the part actually where it's, the Hakuna Matata, all that stuff, and that's when it transitions to the Jay-Z part, Forgive Me, and they play the Forever Mood. I found that interesting, and one of the lyrics in that song, Forever Mood, is stay in your struggle. You want to stay in your struggle. And, like basically she's doing, big things. She's living her life, Forever Mood, as you stay in your struggle. And I said, wow, I think that fits so much of what's going on right now and so much of my thought process, because, I am someone who grew up in, I guess, in an environment where there was struggle all around me. We'll just say that there was struggle all around me. And when I was in that environment, I used to think there are people I see, you want to stay in the struggle. You revel in it. And you've now confused that with Black culture. Struggle is Black culture. And I know that's tough to distinguish because of the way history is told to us, that we're so strong and we made it through so much, and from the passage to Africa here and all the other countries as well, that we're so strong that we made it in strength and struggle and all those. It just keeps flowing, generation. I think people, I know don't come to me with that. I'm tired. I'm aware of that, but at the same time, that's not my only history. That's not my only story. My ancestors are not only privy to struggle. My living elders are not. My ancestors are not. So, it resonated with me. And, I caution you, if you are someone who is not of color, and you feel that that's kind of synonymous, the Black experience has to do with strife and struggle and overcoming and all this stuff, that's a piece, especially here in this country. But my story, my history is, beyond America. That's why they call it the New World. It's older, it's more ancient than all of that. So no, don't stay in your struggle. Don't stay in this struggle that's being put upon you. You don't have to play your part in that. It's okay. You can acknowledge and move on. Anyway, it goes into dark and light, good and evil, and there's like chess, a human chess game being played. The imagery is beautiful. The outfits, the colors, oh my God. That scene I love. But anyway, and it's said there's an ongoing, it's ongoing, between evil, the ongoing evil of dark and light. It's ongoing. And it's basically a chess game. And that chess piece, the king chess piece, will play a symbolic part in the rest of the movie. So I just remember there was part I put in quotes, you are the king, the chess piece, the king, and that's the young man. It's a boy now, and it flashes, he's a boy and a young man, back and forth. But anyway, he kind of like wakes up from a dream. And it goes on to now another song is played. I didn't write down the name of the song, but basically this is more up-tempo song that's playing. And it's just showing you imagery of the effects of the Hakuna Matata, kind of like, okay, well, I'm devoid of, caring too much. I just want to party. I just want to be young. I don't want to worry about anything. And then there's a moment that the now young man, he looks like he's probably 20, or so. And there's a part where he kind of looks over at the priest in a car. He looks at who the driver is, and it's like the Scar character from earlier. And he sees it for what's happening, for what it really is. And then it goes into a song about knowing who you really are. It's time already. Shine already. Oh, I love that. Oh my God, the more imagery, that was just beautiful. But anyway, it goes into that, and that whole sequence is basically like, it's time. It's time for you to take your place. It's time for you to know who you are. And then it goes on, remember who you are. And I just want to say that as far as that part about remembering who you are. Now, this is all a metaphor. This is all symbols and all that. It's applicable, Black is King, to me, to my path, my spiritual path as well. Remember who you are. There was a time I didn't know who I was. I didn't realize my power, which would go, it's coming up. There was a song about power. But remember who you are. Remember. And you're thinking, how can I remember? And I've never done that. No one in my family ever showed me that. It's in your DNA. It's already there. You just have to reach and you have to find out. If you have a stirring, follow the stirring, Anyway, one of the things that you hear during a narration is someone saying, a guy saying this, men taught me a lot of things, but women taught me more. I'm loosely translating that. And then they go on to say how the coast belongs to our ancestors. Swim back to yourself. And it shows more back to the water imagery. And I was like, wow, we're back to the water because the water is significant. Of course, water is considered, a place for rebirth, which they talk about in here. For rebirth, you're reborn. Think of baptismals. It's always water involved because when you were growing in your mother's womb, it's in water. It's in water. A lot of us believe our origin stories are really from the sea. So when you hear about the science of it all, the Big Bang Theory and all that sort of stuff, and how life derived from the seas, I believe that's true. I believe we derive from the sea, from the waters. So anyway. And then the next progression is to talk about Black women and Black men in relationships, which again, synchronicity is just, I didn't say she made this movie for me to make me feel right, but man, did it feel like it. I have been talking to my people I talk to on the phone, and that I actually talk to, not just talk at through this video, about how to better build community here in Black America, for Black America. What is it? What's the missing piece? And I've been saying for some time now, the missing piece is a cohesive family structure, a family unit. And then they're all interconnected because, me and my husband are together, we're married, and my sister and her husband and his, and so forth and so on. Now, ultimately, that is the missing piece. It's family. It's whole families. If you are open to poly lifestyle and you want to have more than, one family from, I'm like a man and several women, then you need to have all these women and children together. You can't be starting families at 16, starting another family at 18, going back to the other girl and having another family, starting more, add more. And then as time go on, you just keep having all these individual families and their titles are baby mamas. So we can't do that and thrive. It's going to be, as we can see, it's going to be a problem. It becomes a problem when you start getting on the political scene and we want to talk about reparations and we want to talk about what's due to us, we're going to run into a conflict. And you're probably wondering, what does me being a baby mama, so what, my relationship didn't work out, what does that have to do with politics? It has everything to do with politics. Do you want to understand why other groups, ethnic groups, were able to get their just due, their justice, in forms of monetary reparations and so forth? Why they were able to do that? Because there were families, organized, connected. That's why. There were the wives, the group of wives who worked together to do things. And the family, there was a network, families worked together. And yeah, I don't want to make this whole video about that, but those are my thoughts on that. And yeah, we gonna have to we have to get to the part of families, and they talk about that. And like I said, I felt a sense of validation. And they go into the song Brown Skin Girl. And I love that Beyonce allows the darker hued women to sort of take a little more center stage in that particular part of the movie, including Kelly Rowland, Naomi Campbell, and Lupita. Also, I love that. That was so sweet. Anyway, and then once that's done, it goes up, and they talk about, the narration talks about building up community and men, women balancing each other through, and the way to do that, the words that stuck out to me was marriage, legacy, strength, and healing, which is powerful. That's super powerful to me. Those are keys right there. Those are the major keys right there. Family, within family is the strength, not the struggle, the strength, and that healing that we need for community. And you can build. It's hard to build when everybody's so disconnected and independent. And that's for all of us. It's not, notice I'm not coming at any particular person, sex, male, female. It's not about that. And by the way, when I say families and things like that, I understand that people are not necessarily heterosexual, but you can build families still together with the same sex. You can still build family. People, we see this already happening. So, know that you see same-sex couples having children and raising them. I mean, I see a lot of them, women and men, it don't matter, I'm not going down this road because that's not about that. I almost resent that I have to constantly keep making, I feel like this urge to make, clarification on that, because the way society is so polarizing to talk about anything. If I'm a heterosexual woman, I typically see the world that way, so that's how I talk. But it's not against anybody else or excluding anybody else. And I'm not saying that you can't build family if you're not heterosexual. But right now, we need to just I need to relay this the way I know how. So hopefully you follow with me with that. Anyway, it comes back to Beyonce again with the baby that was in the basket at the opening, and it's showing why now the baby's in the basket. And I won't go into the whole thing, but there was something not great that was going on in the village, and she had to save her baby. So she put the baby in the basket in the river, and the river carried the baby down. It was compliant, and then the water got rough, and there was a dip into the basin of the waters, and instead of a basket with the baby falling out, there was like a young man. Now it's back to the young man sequence again. And he emerges from the water and with the king chess piece. And there's a part where you could see someone who clearly is representing an ancestor, and she's anointing him. And then the narration goes on, and it starts with the ancestors are tired. And it goes on. I'll let you watch that if you want. And, that gave me chills. it goes on. The baby, in the end, you know, it's kind of like a full circle moment. The baby returns to the mother, Beyonce, and she's regally dressed at this point. She, you know, it looks different now from where she put the baby in a river. Everything is nice again. So that's like a full circle moment. And it just progresses into, the next progression is into a song about they'll never take my power. And I remember there's one lyric in there, they say we're demonic angels in disguise. I was like, ooh, love that. And then the young man confronts this enemy, this Scar character. He confronts him and he runs. They show just quick imagery of that. And then there was more narration about how the Orishas hold our hands on this journey. And then they gave, you hear a man talking, he's talking about the definition of kingship. And it basically means taking care of your family, you know, which I translate to providing and protecting. That's taking care of. And then she moves into the song Spirit, which, ooh, chills. They were in the, it was like a choir, and the acoustics where they are when they're doing the song, and then it goes to the video for the song. But it was beautiful. Like I said, I'm gonna watch it again because it was very profound. The message she was trying to or messages she was trying to deliver was well received on my end. I received it well. I will carry it. I've consumed it. I'm going to consume a little bit more and learn even more from that. And I will take that on my journey, you know, through this thing called life. I will continue to take it on my journey. And yeah, it was very powerful. Would I say this movie is only for Black people? That's silly. No movie is only for anybody. I think that you can watch this if you're not Black and have an appreciation. I think you can look back, and I think you could be moved as well. I mean, if you live in this world, we live in this world together. I mean, I'm put it to you like this. My whole life, I know how white people act. I've had no choice but to learn. I've had to learn from TV, media. I know the ins and outs of how white people act. I know what they eat. I know what they like. I know how they talk. I know where they live. I know how they live. You're hard pressed to find Black people who don't understand or know white people. We know you very well. We've had no choice but to learn and study you, so as not to, in most cases, offend you or you know, because that has a consequence. So we know you very well. So if you are someone who is not Black and you want to watch this, or I'm going to say a person of color, I guess, but if specifically if you're not of African descent and you want to watch this, again, I think you would find appreciation, but I think that you could learn a little something. You could understand more about rhythm. And when I say that I'm not being funny, I mean like the rhythm that flows through us. There's a vibe, there's a rhythm. That's why you see most Black people we respond well to drumming, and it's not that people don't, but you will see that people with melanated skin typically respond a little bit more rhythmically to certain beats, drums, bass, things like that. And to me, all of that, she's showing you that, Beyonce, in this movie, why that is. And that's something, it's okay to have differences. It's okay to, don't be colorblind. That's a silly notion. Recognize people's differences. Have appreciation. For years, I've had to understand, I've learned and understood and dissected various media, whether it's books where we talk about, it's all white characters, being presented, and the way they describe the skin. If I had to write right now a book about a female white character lead, I could write it and you would never know a Black woman wrote that, because I've been so exposed to that type of literature, that type of art. I can do it sideways, upside down, in my sleep. It's so easy for me to write it. It's so easy because I know it. I know it. We know you. Know us a little bit, get to know us a little bit. These are not judgment statements. This is just how it is, right? It's okay. It's funny because other cultures can easily have these conversations. Asians talk about this, various Asians, Koreans. I love, you know, sometimes you're talking to people and they'll joke, or not in a bad way, but they'll joke about certain aspects of their culture. You hear people talk about the Chinese. Oh my God, you hear people say about like a Chinese parent would never, or a Nigerian parent would never, or you know, all these types of things, or you know, when we in this country, when you talk like that, it makes some people feel uncomfortable. And it's not that the people are doing anything wrong that feels uncomfortable. It's just I can tell they seize up. Like, are we allowed to talk like this? Are we allowed to say this? You can know the path to peace and getting along and living in this world together and justice and fairness and all that sort of stuff is not, you know, seizing it. You can't do that. It's flow. Allow people to be who they are. It's not a threat to you. It's not a conflict against you. It's not in competition or anything like that. It just is. So when I watch this movie, it just is for me, you know. I've never been to Africa. I've never been to any countries in Africa. So when I watch this, and I realize some of the shooting didn't all happen in Africa, by the way, but when I watch this, it takes me to a place that I know is home. I haven't been there yet. That's how I see it. So whoever you are, if you watch this, you know, the movie Black is King, it takes you to a place where it just feels like home, you know, and all the little attributes and aspects of that are playing out: the music, the dance, the story, the colors, the clothes, the hair, everything is just playing out. So that is my take on Black is King. I felt good watching it. I felt good. I didn't feel like it highlighted the problems of the world. I didn't feel like it was political. There was a scene where there's a group of young men, and they have the American flag, but it's in the colors, the red, black, and green. So, and I think that's in a song about power, you know, remember your power or something like that. Don't let them take your power. So that's something. Maybe that part is political, but outside of that, it just is. It just is. And it was, that movie was very profound. And it was something I think you can watch more than once and probably take a little bit something each time. I am a Beyonce fan. I love her. I don't understand where people have an issue with this woman. I don't understand it. To me, she's definitely representing her Oshun energy, as she says. And that's a sense of pride in that. I think that's beautiful. I don't know. Anyway, go watch the movie today. You know, numbers count, so you want to go ahead and get Disney Plus, get the trial if you have to, if they have one, and watch it. You know, maybe cancel it before they run your credit card if you have to. But it's a feast of the eyes. It's a feast for the eyes of just watching all that beautiful imagery and all the work that was went into it, and I appreciate it. So, yeah, a thumbs up on this review Friday from me. So thank you for watching. Please go ahead and like the video if you've enjoyed this, and go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. And if you have subscribed already, thank you so much. You're helping my little channel grow, and I really, really appreciate it. All right, everybody. Happy Friday. Bye-bye.